Welcome to the City of Fitchburg Municipal Airport Commission meeting. It's June 24th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to introduce the commissioners in attendance this evening. Myself, the chair, Clayton Raymond. To my far left, Eric Takal. To my immediate left, Paul Hathaway. And one over to my right, it was Richard Liberatore, sorry. We also hear Peter Kettle, airport manager, and we have Matt Preventure here, who works for Mead, Tollerman, and Costa, LLC. He works for the city's choice of a lawyer, solicitor. Also, Alex Vera is here this evening, Chief of Staff. Thank you for coming, Alex.
Thank you.
Members in attendance, we have Matt Karen of Gale Associates. And we also have Glenn Reinhardt and Mark Estabrook from the FPA and others. And Ward Councilor Derek Cruz. Thank you for coming. All right, we should get started. Action items from previous minutes. One item I'd just like to address right off the bat is at last month's meeting, we had Mr. Bill Taylor express his concerns on the FPA co-op lease and this renegotiation process. He expressed he was less than pleased with the way things were going, and went on to accuse Peter Kettle as bullying and being unprofessional, singling the FPA co-op out as, and it's just, I find it to be very incorrect, and I reject all that he had said about Mr. Kettle. So moving forward, we are going to negotiate in the way in which we were previously. Thank you. Action items. Peter, do you have anything highlighted that?
They're all covered in this meeting.
Okay.
But don't forget to approve the previous minutes.
Yep. And also would like to approve last month's meeting minutes for those who've been able to review them. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Paul.
Approve the minutes of the last meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Correspondence to the commission. We have a yes.
The yes is concerning Verigy, the consultant that came in and investigated the solar panel farm. I'd like to address that when we get into the old business as we move forward, please.
Okay. And that was it?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, Gale Associates review of ongoing work. Matt Karen.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the Fitchburg Airport Commission. Matt Karen with Gale Associates for the recording. There are 3 projects that we are administering on behalf of the Airport Commission. The first one is the Environmental Assessment and Wildlife Hazard Assessment. Happy to report that the final rounds of wildlife survey took place on May 20th through May 22nd, with the draft wildlife hazard summary report expected the week of July 15th. Once we get that, we're going to send that down to the FAA for their review and comment. If you recall, there is a wildlife hazard management plan component to this project if the FAA deems that that is necessary as a result of the wildlife hazard assessment. So that's TBD. The funding's already in place for that. Once the FAA gets that, the wildlife hazard survey report, they'll review that. They'll let us know if we need to go into the management plan. So we'll be reporting back sometime after the week of July 15th on that, hopefully in time for the August meeting. Any questions on that project?
Just a comment, Matt, please. One thing that was omitted was a snapping turtle. There was a snapping turtle on 3214 the other day.
From the report, from the final report?
No, it wasn't. Actually, yes, it's been added. Stacey's adding it. I didn't want to pick it up because I think they give you a bad bite. So I got in my Jeep and drove back to the SRE and got a spade or a shovel and went back to move it,
move
and
it.
it had already gone.
Oh, is that fast?
So it was a quick snapping turtle, yes.
I'm glad you
So
kept your
that
hands
will
out
be
of the way.
recorded.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And you let Stacy know that, so
Yes.
she's including that. Thank you.
He must have been a transient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you get him for a ramp fee?
Yeah, good point, Paul. I guess that's a no.
The second project is the design permitting for main apron reconstruction. That contract between Gale and the airport is circulating within the city. We are waiting for signatures on that from a few folks, but it is circulating. That grant application has been submitted to the FAA and Mass DOT. We are awaiting funding for that project. And again, that's for the design and the permitting of the main apron with reconstruction of the main apron to follow in fiscal year 2025. Any questions on that project?
We're good.
Okay. Probably the biggest item for this evening is the groove seal remark of runway 1432. So the grooving is complete in the settling basin. That was staged off of former runway 20 has been removed and restored. It still needs to be reseeded out there, but that work is to come. As of writing this update this morning, there's been a change in plans. So the sealant, like I said, that's the grooving's complete. The sealant was in progress. That was completed today. The markings were to go down by Wednesday. So the runway was supposed to be closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Last week, we met with Mass DOT, Owen Silba, who's the director of aviation. Peter was on that call. There are like two other airports in the Commonwealth and another airport up in Maine that are all tapping into the same contractor resource. So the schedule's been somewhat in flux. Unfortunately, they cannot get out and do the markings until Saturday of this week. So there's been a shift from the runway closure of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to it's going to be closed on Saturday, which I know is unfortunate because it's probably a pretty heavy operations day for the airport. But it's only expected to be closed for Saturday, reopened back up on Sunday, and that should be the last of the work in the closures for the airport and for the runway. So a little bit of a shift, unfortunately, and if there's anything you would like me to do or say to report back to the contractor, we'd certainly be happy to do that. I did work with Peter and coordinated with him this afternoon. I think we're good with the plan as is. We're limiting the amount of closure at the airport to just that one day, but like I said, it is on the Saturday. So just wanted to pass that message along. If there's any questions or comments or thoughts,
Is that
Feel
a
free.
Sunday morning 0700 reopening, or is that a later on Sunday reopening?
no, it's going to be, I want to say 700 is what I'm pretty sure is what they had said, Peter. Correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong.
That's
Yeah.
not terribly bad.
No. So, and the one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit is the weather. And if for some reason they can't get it in on Saturday because the weather comes in, that definitely messes things up. I mean, the state is expecting that the work be completed before the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. So their wiggle room is in margin of error, if you will, is really small for that.
Well, with the grants not being granted until the very last month of the fiscal year, you're going to run into this.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 other airports, like you said, are running into the same thing.
Correct.
So I wouldn't
Yeah, I
fault
mean,
the contractor. I would fault the funding avenue.
It's difficult because, unfortunately, Mass DOT often doesn't realize towards the end of their fiscal year that they have the monies available to take on these type of projects. But obviously, this is the result of it. The crunch, everyone's
Yeah.
trying to squeeze all these projects in. So,
Yeah.
it's not for neglect on the contractor's part. Like, I know they're trying to do the best for all these airports. And when there's just a limited number of contractors that do this type of work,
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're up against. So.
Yeah.
So rain is forecast Saturday and Sunday.
Rain is forecast. I did see that Saturday and Sunday. I'm working with our resident engineer, and we'll be working and talking with the contractor just to see what's the contingency plan if that rain does move up. I mean, it's still a few days out, but obviously something to be keeping in the back of our minds to make sure that we can get this stuff in and get it done.
Okay, great.
So,
Just a comment there, Paul. NOAA and MassDOT 3 days ago sent out that we would get a hurricane at Fitchburg, but we didn't even get a shower or any thunderstorm or anything, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Well done.
Yeah, that was a real killjoy. I was looking forward to that.
The final item that I have is the MedStar legal. So for some of the newer commissioners, several years ago, we had acquired avigation easements, several of them in the runway 14 and runway 32 approaches. One of them we had to take by eminent domain. There was some legal back and forth. There was a settlement. The FAA has agreed to fund that settlement. We're doing things a little bit backwards. There's an IFE process that now needs to be done. Peter and I have worked with Colleen Mayu from the FAA. The airport has contracted with an IFE provider. Peter, I have not heard anything back from him. I don't know if you have at this point.
He actually sent it.
Did he send it
You
back?
were on the circulation, yeah, yesterday.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
It must have gone into my spam then.
Yeah, most probably.
Okay. I assume I'll take a look at it. Assuming that the numbers for the independent fee estimate are close to Gail's numbers within 10%, we're good to go. That grant app's already been submitted, and we'll wait to get the funding on that and get the city reimbursed on monies that it already has spent a couple years ago. And so that's where that stands.
Thank you. I'll be happy about that.
A good deal.
Us too. Any other questions for Matt?
Thank you.
That's it? You're going to let me off the hook that easy?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be back in July.
I don't know why. We put Jackie through the ringer. and
Yeah, no, I know.
You're just a,
20 minutes.
ass.
Tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Item 4, Fitchburg Pilots Association, Aerofair follow-up report. Glenn?
Good evening, Mr. Chairperson and Commissioners. My name is Glenn Reinhardt. I'm from Lunenburg, and I'm a member of the Fitchburg Pilots Association Board of Directors. Aerofair took place on June 16th. The weather was absolutely perfect. I want to thank the city for that. And we had fewer attendees than we would hoped. We were 266 people came through. It was a steady flow throughout the 5-hour period, so that no one area was overbooked. I thought everything went very well. We had 3 people out from the Pilot Association doing parking. We didn't have any issues with parking, but my wife being one of those, as people were leaving, they were rolling down their windows and waving and saying thank you and stuff. So, people were happy to have come there and enjoyed themselves. Popular items were, number one, we had 11 aircraft on display, some of them right outside our hangar. We had a motor glider inside, and then we had 3 aircraft out by their T hangars. So if you took the tractor tour, which seemed to be very popular, every time it went out full. And that takes them around the airport. We talk a little bit about the traffic pattern. We do mention that there's no tower, which we get this shock that there's no control tower at the airport, but then we explain how we communicate. And then we made stops at the 3 T hangars to let people see some other aircraft and such. Life Flight was wonderful. They gave us an opportunity to bring people down, another popular item. The Fitchburg Fire Department, I thank them again for coming out with the smokehouse and providing some safety training for the families. The display aircraft were excellent. We had a nice mix of different types of airplanes. The pilots were very often allowing the people to get into the aircraft and explaining a little bit about it. People learned about that. We had an air coupe outside the Young Eagles area, Young Eagles being another event. I'll let Shelley talk about that. And he was, while children waited for their chance to go for their flight, he was talking about how a walk around about the airplane, how airplanes fly and stuff. So I think it was pretty good educational. We had simulators running. Everybody seemed happy. Feedback I had from people with display aircraft were that the people were very courteous, and we had no issues with people doing things to airplanes they shouldn't be doing. So.
That's terrific.
Any
I'm glad
questions
it
for
was
me?
successful. Anyone?
How did he explain that the air coupe has no rudder pedals?
I I actually told a story about the fact that that's one of the few airplanes, and people found that very interesting, that it didn't have any rudder
It
pedals.
just has 2 dents where the people frantically hit the floor.
Yeah. But I would always point that out, though. And I'd like to bring up Shelby, who did the Young Eagles. And if you're not sure about what that is it's a flight for kids from 8 to 17, and the pilots take them up for a flight. Hi, Shelby.
Great job.
Hi, Shelby, how are you?
Hello, I'm Shelby Lilly. I live in Gardner. I'm the Young Eagles coordinator for the Fitchburg Pilot Association. I just have some numbers from the event. So we had 9 pilots come out to help us, all volunteering their time in their airplanes. We were able to get 36 kids up in the air for flights, each one on their own flight, so nobody had to share, which was really fun. 8 of those were girls, 28 of them were boys. 24 of them got to do their first flight ever that day, which was a pretty big number there. And we also had 3 of the Young Eagles that did their 5th or more flight that day. So it's kind of great to see some people that are pretty dedicated and want to do lots of them. It was actually one kid's 18th flight. So I'm sure he'll be back. And then many of the kids were from Fitchburg, but they actually came from a total of 20 different towns all over Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So it was a pretty good turnout.
No, that's great.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
To me.
We appreciate it.
I just like to say I think it's a fantastic event, and just in terms of, aviation is so walled off from most communities, and the fact that the FPA puts the effort into opening the doors to the community so that young people and families can see what aviation is all about, what this giant space next to their house actually exists, what's its purpose, who does what there, and the diversity of activities, whether it's med flight or private aviation, corporate aviation, and also the massive improvements that have been made to the airport over the last few years. So kudos to you guys for doing it. It's really good.
Thank you, Paul. All right. Item number 5, new business. Item 1, Rocking Horse Enterprises, Bob Montana.
This is an interesting one. I'm sure everybody in the room will be very happy about it. I'm just going to take you back about a year where we had an RFP go out for aviation-related land. There was one person that won the RFP. He went into the investigation of how much is it going to cost him to get the plans done and the steel for the building. And he came back and returned basically the RFP back to us because the cost of steel has gone up exorbitantly and he couldn't afford it. So by surprise, Bob Montana, who owns Rocking Horse Enterprises, he is a constructor. He's an agent for steel, so he can get the steel at the best price. He's also an approved utility connector in Massachusetts and Connecticut and New Hampshire. And he's come back looking at possibly building 30 new T-hangars and a large box hangar on the old 2-0 end. At the moment, he's in discussions with Mackenzie Engineering. They're going to do just the preliminary plans for approval by the City Council or the Planning Board, and the price has been agreed for that. And hopefully within the next month, he'll give the go-ahead and start working with the Planning Board to get this going. So the good thing is that originally the price from the city and also Unitil was $1.8 million to put the utilities in. Well, he can do that virtually for nothing because he's an approved agent for that. So I think that's where he's going to get the incentive to move forwards. And it looks like the hangars themselves will be around about $110,000 each, and that's to purchase. So we do have one large owner of hangars, I believe 14, Mark, Mr. Buono. I think he owns 14 T hangars on the airport, and I've put word out that this guy is going to do the 30 and asking Mr. Buono if he wants to buy 10 straight away, which will give the incentive for him to have the money already there. And also, we've got 11 committed people from the airport, so that's 21 out of the 30. So hopefully this one is going to go this time. So fingers crossed, everyone.
All right.
Was he a local contractor?
Yeah. Yes.
I got a question, Peter. Refresh my memory. Is this property out for RFP at this time?
No,
It's not?
no.
Okay. So does he understand there's, a few miles of road before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really, all it needs to be done is approved by the City Council. That's it, like we've done before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the way the FPA hangar went as well. Got City Council approval, didn't go out to RFP.
Okay.
So it's possible.
All right.
All right?
Because it's aviation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you say hangars, that's not buildings, but each of those spaces in it is considered a hangar?
T hangars, 2 units, 3 units of 10.
Okay, okay.
Okay?
They're identically sized?
Sorry?
Identically sized?
990 and 1,050, I think. The 1,050 is the one with the large wingspan like you've got, Paul.
So that's a 54 by, something like
Yeah.
that.
3 units of 10 and 1 box hangar.
Yeah.
Now, the box hangar, Peter, I don't, is that item 20 on this?
It's 1.
Item 1?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the box hanger.
Okay.
The 20 is the 20 T hangers, and the other one, the 10, is the 10 separate ones. This is just the schematic.
Yeah.
The 20 has a gap in between fire safety area.
Yeah.
And maybe also for a parking area.
So he's proposing all of these, the 3 sets of T hangars with 10 units each,
Exactly.
and the box hangar, and then 2 others?
No, that's it.
That's it?
Yes, the ones that are adjacent or directly opposite the white T hangars that are buildings 14, 15 and 16, I think, those there were what he proposed. And I said, no, we need to get them back. They need to be together because otherwise it's going to take up too much space.
Yeah.
So that's why they're at the back here.
Okay.
And this is what Mackenzie Engineering is working on.
Yeah. So we're going to go all the way to the back, the furthest point, and then we'd work forward
10, 20 and
for
one.
additional.
Okay.
Yes,
No, that's great.
yes.
I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Right.
Sorry, I'm working on off my computer. I'm not good at it. After-hours bathroom facility. Oh, this is a hot topic. Commissioner Paul Hathaway put this on the agenda. So, take it away, Paul.
Sure.
And I know Peter's got a lot to say, too.
Yeah, I know. And so in the interest of keeping it short, just as someone is at the airport after hours, and I know the FPA, in fact, have events frequently after hours. The airport doesn't close at 5 or 5:30. So in the interests of, Victorian sanitation standards, I thought we should have somewhere to use the facility as needed after hours. That's either public, it's going to be on the gated side, obviously, only access to pilots and transients. And so I know that both Mark and Daniel have been doing some amazing homework on this, and also Peter has potentially some homework to report. So who wants to go first?
You. Or Mark, I don't mind.
So, I guess the 2 options on the table, I guess, that made common sense were renting some kind of porta potty or getting access to the terminal building after hours, trying to figure out a way to get that safely accomplished.
Yeah.
So let's say option A, Mr. Estabrook.
Mark Estabrook, Acton, Massachusetts, president of the trustees for the FACT and FBA board of directors. So option A, I guess, is the porta potty or the access? I don't know.
Is option A and A.
Okay, A and A. Well, in any case, so we've had the opportunity to talk to both the FACT and FPA members to get their feedback on the proposals that were made. Certainly, everyone feels the best option is access to the FBO after hours. And so we've been strongly encouraged to please keep pushing on that. But in the meantime, there is recognition that there's a need for the residents there, and even transients in some cases. So both the FBA and the FACT have approved funds, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 to the airport for a standard porta potty unit. The suggestion would be to place it near the fuel farm because it's lighted at night, make it a little bit easier and safer to use. It's just our suggestion. But both organizations are fine with that, or near Hangar 13 if that's preferred. But at least under the lights, it's helpful, but it's also visible to transients who might want to make use of it. So.
And I understand the pricing you had achieved was remarkably inexpensive, right?
Yeah, it's like $154 a month or something like that. Yeah.
And that includes weekly servicing?
Weekly service, and that includes drop-off and pickup.
So each party would essentially pay just over 50 or 60 bucks?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, quite affordable.
That's remarkable.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Kettle.
Yeah, there's a memorandum of understanding that's being put together by the mayor, and my understanding is that that's been passed to Attorney Mead, and hopefully by the time we get to the next meeting, that will be available. There will be, obviously, within the memorandum of understanding, that's a big word, isn't it? There is obviously a need for maybe insurance and other things like that. So, that's being looked at today by Attorney Mead, and hopefully, as I said, it will be available by the next meeting. Okay?
No, appreciate it.
And that's relative to access to the terminal after hours, or is that relative to a porta potty?
Relative to the terminal.
Oh, wow. That's huge. Well, that's exciting progress.
All right.
Well, thank you both for your efforts on our behalves.
Everyone's. You're all set?
Yes.
Commissioners want to comment on the? Okay. Item 3, naturals to go.
Did you like the way I numbered these? 2 is after. 3 is after.
Your number
Number
one
2
and
is
number
after
two
house
doesn't.
bathroom facility, and the other one's naturals to go. So I thought it would create a smile, and it has done
Eric
so.
thought they were related agenda items.
As you all know, about 6 years ago, we lost a very, very valuable part, I believe, of the airport, was when the restaurant went. And we have a space of land now that the RVs have moved out, so that land is available. That's going to be going out within the next 2 weeks for an RFP. And hopefully we'll get somebody in there. But in the meantime, because things do take time, I've come across a company called, I'll see it now, Naturals to Go. And what they do is they're a vending supplier company. And if you have a look at the ones that you've got on your desk, you'll see it. They will fill that with whatever we want. Sandwiches, fresh sandwiches, ham sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, whatever we want, they will fill. And the beauty about it is it's controlled from their warehouse where they keep them. So if somebody takes one, then that goes identification straight away to the warehouse, and they will come and replace it. And the ones that are in there for more than 3 days, they will take away and destroy. So I believe this will be a massive asset to the people at the airport, even the businesses. Instead of going out to get, they can get it actually at the airport. The beauty about it is it costs nothing to the airport, absolutely nothing. One of the big things that I've asked them for is insurance, obviously, Attorney Provencher, and they've come up with $1 million insurance, liability insurance, which is hopefully going to be sufficient. I sent that through to Lisa, and she's had a look, and she said, yeah, everything looks good, but she does want an agreement with them, because they didn't provide an agreement for us to sign or anything. So if the Commission agrees tonight that this is a viable proposition, then I will go back, tell them it's viable, we'll get them an agreement from the attorney, they sign it, we sign it, and they get it in and start operating.
So the agreement would be that we just give them a location in the terminal building somewhere to
Right.
place this, and we don't receive any revenues. We pay for the power,
That's all we pay for.
and they have the machine and they look after it, but it's basically a public service.
Right.
Perfect.
So inside the terminal, I would
Yes.
assume, you have a spot.
Yeah.
And at such time as if they go at it, because you see a lot of dead snack machines all around the country at airports, right, that aren't filled or the business failed. So is there some kind of mechanism by which they would remove it at the end if they terminate?
That will be part of the
Perfect.
agreement.
So that's great.
Okay. And the other good thing is here, it says something about microwavable food. So I asked them, I said, so where's the microwave coming from? And they said, well, you've got one. I said, no, we're not using ours. So they're prepared to put a microwave in as well. So we'll get
Wow.
both units, free of charge. So can we have a vote? Can
2 words, Diet Coke.
You really shouldn't be drinking diet soda.
I know it's terrible.
There's plenty of that at the airport.
Is there?
Yes. Coke, Fanta, grape.
Where do you keep them?
I mean, I would be okay with like a 1-year term with them. I wouldn't enter a 3 or 5-year term.
No.
I mean, to me, it's like a pilot program.
Absolutely.
You know, if the microwave becomes a total mess and there's trash everywhere, it's going to be a problem.
Agreed.
Do I expect it to be there? But no, but I want an out.
Right.
Where do you think you would locate it, Peter? You have a place in mind?
You know where the bathrooms, you go through to the mail?
Yep.
Right, just there on that wall. There's
Perfect.
a plug down there. It's perfect access.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Just at the moment, there's 2 chairs and a table in between that we can move over virtually 2 feet from the door, and there's a massive space there.
It's a smart-looking, modern machine, too.
It is.
You know, so I like it.
I mean, I motion to accept for no longer than a 1-year lease to give it a try, or give it a go, as you might say.
Speaking of
Peter.
motion, Peter, was there a reason why we brought this up? Were people inquiring?
The number of people that walk through saying, what happened to the restaurant? We want some food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But also people at the airport.
for fuel stops.
You know?
The first thing, A
Absolutely.
is the restroom, and B is where's the Diet Coke and barbecue potatoes.
So your aircraft are
Just
just
hypothetical.
stopping in for refueling, this would be something that they'd be
Perfect.
attracted right to?
Definitely.
You get a lot
All
of
right.
use, a lot of use.
Okay.
So sorry about that, Rich. I didn't mean to motion before you had a chance to speak.
No.
I apologize.
I like the idea, it's just that sometimes we'll install something like this, and then the people who are supposed to maintain it, they tend to not keep up that agreement.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it becomes more of a heartache and an issue, and then to get them to come back and say, gee, you're not keeping up with what we had proposed,
Yeah.
or you had proposed.
Yeah.
I hate to see something dropped in a nice vestibule of a terminal, and then we've got.
Right. It's an eyesore for 5 years.
You know, it's just being
Yeah.
cautious, you know.
The ones I've seen at airports get extremely heavy use. Because, you know, if you're just fueling and you're doing a quick turn,
Yeah.
you're on your way to Maine or you're going south to Florida, you don't really want to get a crew car or rental car to go get lunch. But a sandwich and a soda
Just a quick-
or a cup of coffee while the aircraft is getting fueled
Yeah.
is absolutely
No, I can see the value of it. I mean, without a doubt, we had talked about the restaurant is the ideal,
Yeah.
goal for us, in the future. But if you see that this will become a popular item, I'm all for it.
And we're still actively pursuing a restaurant.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive. I think they're complementary.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, there's a motion on the table still.
Point of information for the chair on the motion.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, the motion you made was to approve a lease for this. There is no lease before the commission, nor does it sound like this would be a lease, which would potentially have to go through procurement. So
Okay.
I would advise that you may want to point out that you're authorizing the airport manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding or agreement about the siting of a vending machine that is not leased, nor is the subject of any contract between the commission and any vendor.
Matt, that's a lot of words. I'm going to give it a try.
I would
an
just
attorney?
change lease for memorandum of agreement.
Yeah.
That's all you'll need to do with your
That was
motion.
very well said.
We're going to change my motion of a lease to a memorandum of understanding for 1 year.
Well, just a quick question on that. what if they come back and say, well, typically if we place these machines, it's a 2-year type deal? What do you think? Do we have any flexibility in that? Do you know any sense
I believe we do, and I think Commissioner Liberatore had a good point there. We could put, like we do in our own lease agreements, each party has the option to back out of this,
Sure.
90 days,
Terminate.
terminate.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a cost to us. It's going to be $30 or $40 an electric monthly. It's,
Yeah,
not nothing.
Yeah.
no,
Small.
I agree.
But it is, like Paul said, he's a pilot. He stops. They want a drink. They want a chip. They want, just a little bite, and away they go. I like the idea of it.
How are the prices of the items?
They're all less than $2.
Probably not for a sandwich.
No,
Yeah.
no. But we haven't got into that yet because I wanted to get
Yeah.
to see what the situation was.
Like I said, just call me cautious. I'd like to be out in a year. If it's 2-year, I come back to the commission next month.
Exactly.
Okay. Is that fair enough?
Sure enough.
Motion.
Second?
Excellent. We got a vote?
Let's vote. Aye. Got Coke.
All right.
Just saying.
Pretty good.
Caffeine free, though.
Like under 10 minutes, we motioned for a vending machine.
Mercy.
Got it approved. Next.
It's a small detail, but I think that it's the kind of thing that when people stop next time to buy fuel from Fitchburg, they'll think, well, they had a restroom that was nice and clean, the staff were friendly, it was quick turn, and they had a vending machine. These are the things I think about. And if you read AirNav reports, the major items that people, criteria are quick turn, rather than waiting around for a long time, fuel price, restroom facilities, friendliness, and then there was some place to get a beverage or food. If you check those boxes, you become a kind of pit stop of choice.
Yeah, I remember to this day, I used to fly with the Army, and we'd stop at MacDill Air Force Base, and I knew the exact hangar where you could go upstairs and get a cold Coca-Cola and still in the glass bottles.
Nice,
And I couldn't wait.
nice.
It was great. So we'll work on the friendliness part, but I guess everything else is working on, right? Right, Peter?
So this will be not a contracted item, but there'll be a time limit on,
That's my hope.
yeah.
1 year and if it's going to be 2 years, likely get approved. But, if he comes back and says, well, we're only going to do this for 5 years, to me, that's a problem. But
Yeah.
it's up to us. But I think for now, going cautious.
I agree.
All right, can we move on now? I'm going to move on right now. How's that? Old business, I'm sorry. Item 6. RFP for non-aviation land lease update.
Yes, we withdrew that approximately 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I spoke to the procurement division director today, and it's going to be reissued within the next 2 weeks as an RFEI for both the restaurant and the land.
was the restaurant land part of the first RFEI?
It was all together, but now we're separated.
Kind of summed in, yeah. Okay. Couple weeks?
Yes, within the next 2 weeks.
Good. Land lease and holdings update. Just to remind everybody that N number holdings is the development
For Life Flight.
for the Life Flight hangar.
He's the actual owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's complete. I'm taking it off the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a chance to look inside their hangar and their quarters a few weeks ago. It was really nice.
Beautifully done.
Yeah. It's well
I,
outfitted.
if I could just comment.
You sure
I
can.
know that the Pilots Association and FACT personnel would like to have a look around that hangar. I'm going to give you a name. The name is Liam Smith, And I'll put it on a text to both of you, all right? His name's Liam Smith. He's the manager of, well, he's the New England manager, northeastern manager for Air Methods. And he said, just drop him a line. They don't generally open it because of the nature of what's inside the hangar. Particularly they are private bedrooms, etc., where people sleep. But he said he'll definitely consider it. So I'll get that out to both of you tomorrow. Okay?
All right, Peter, thank you. Item C, minimum standards. I have no action on my part to the minimum standards over the last 30 days. If anybody would like to add to the comments from last month's meeting, I'm welcome to listen. And if any of the commissioners had a chance to review the...
Yeah, just one comment. You sent me the update, which was your second version, and I know you were working on a third.
That is correct.
Okay, the third hasn't been published to the commission yet.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure, when I asked for an update, I got that one, and
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's the one we're working on.
Yeah, Mr. Estabrook had a lot of comments. Commissioner Hathaway had some comments as to how we were moving forward with it, and he would like it simplified, and I agree, but there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have not gotten to any of it.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that my version was the most updated.
And if any of you would like to take it off my hands, that's I'm open to that as well. But
You're doing such a fine job, though.
yeah,
I mean, I'd be willing to, hack at it, and then we can bounce it back and forth between us if you want to do that.
yeah, we can do that.
And then, together, I think, and with Mark's help, we can get it whipped into shape.
Yeah. Matt, there's 4 commissioners. Can the 2 of us work together?
You can, because the two of you wouldn't constitute a quorum.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a meeting of the public body that hadn't been noticed according to the public meeting law.
Excellent. Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm at your service.
Item.
May I ask a question? This is for Attorney Provencher. As Paul is a pilot and he's a member of FACT, does that constitute a conflict of interest because he's on the commission?
So generally, the solicitor's office doesn't provide authoritative guidance on whether anything posits a conflict of interest under the Ethics Commission rules. The Ethics Commission has an attorney of the day that any ordinary or special municipal employee can contact for guidance as to what their situation is and whether it presents an issue under the conflict of interest law. So to the extent that there's any concern, I think Commissioner Hathaway can call the attorney of the day at the Ethics Commission, explain what the circumstances are, and receive an opinion that he can then rely upon should there be any question about his actions. My office would do it. However, the commission will only take calls directly from municipal employees. They don't take them from attorneys or individuals representing the municipal employee. So you'll have to do it yourself. If you need a hand, I'll be happy to direct you. You can just shoot me an email and I'll help you.
I think it's in the training that I got from...
There are references in the standard training materials for board and commission members as to how to contact the Ethics Commission and solicit an opinion.
Also, any changes that you would be proposing would still have to be approved by all of us.
All of us, that is correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it goes to the FAA. Then it goes, there's a long ways before it's stamped.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's no financial interest, and I'm essentially operating as an editor as opposed to a lawmaker. So-
I would agree. I'm going to put it as an action item for you to forward to the Ethics
I'll do it.
Commission. Sure. Thanks, Peter, for mentioning that. Item D, Crawford Street Safety Update. Nick Erickson.
That's still with MassDOT. We're waiting for MassDOT still.
Item E, HRSC Update.
high-resolution stereoscopic camera. That work is completed. The Mayor received a very nice letter from MassDOT Road Department thanking the airport and everyone that was involved with it. They will be back next year to recalibrate the trucks that were here this year, and it's an ongoing thing for approximately 5 to 7 years.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Yeah.
but it's no detriment to the airport. The airport still functions. It's just blocking off a certain part of Alpha between Delta and Echo. So it worked very well, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Well, feather in our cap then.
right.
Good. Item E, Verigy letter. This is a letter to the commission.
Right. It's a long letter. I'm just going to read the last paragraph because I think that just summarises it all. He says, but until Unitil gets more capacity in the SMART program from MassDOT, or your airport gets tenants that will add to your electrical load, the project is in a tough spot. We will stay in touch, and if anything changes with the program, or as you expand, we can circle back. I wish we could do more for the airport, but it is a rough, tough spot. We appreciate all your help and diligence in working with us. Hopefully in the future we will be able to do something. Thanks again, Mitch Dexter, Senior Account Executive, Verigy. So it's on hold. So I'm going to take it off the agenda.
Okay.
At least they acted decisively and quickly, and this wasn't something that dragged on for years
No,
and years. So,
absolutely.
tip of the hat to them for being responsive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they were pretty thorough. Yeah, they tried 2 or 3 different ways to try to make it happen for us, and ran into problems.
I'm just surprised at how much that market has changed, because when we first were exploring the feasibility of having solar come in, I mean, they had crazy numbers they had produced that we would be making, on the positive side to the airport. And now, as Peter stated, now we're looking at 30,000. There's 30,000 a year, from 300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
kind of disappointing that.
Missed opportunity back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we weren't ready. Maybe next time opportunity comes, we'll be a little bit more prepared.
Yeah.
Or in a better spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Financial review, approval of commitments and abatements.
None.
Mr. Kettle?
None.
All right. Tonight we do have an executive session posted. And I'm just going to make a motion to enter executive session. I'm going to, on the grounds of litigation, position of the public body will be adversely affected by a discussion in open session, and ask for a motion to enter into executive session with respect to litigation regarding the lease of the FPA co-op. So I need a roll call to enter into executive session, so if we could do so, I'd like to do that. So
Second
roll
the
call.
motion to enter executive session?
Yeah, and roll call by name, please.
Before you take the roll call vote, you need to announce whether you're going to reconvene an open session or adjourn from executive session.
Sorry about that, Matt. So yes, we are going to go into executive session after this meeting commences, and we will not be going back into a regular public meeting this evening. So the regular meeting will adjourn as soon as take a roll call to go into executive session. Motion's on the floor and seconded, and roll call, Clayton Raymond, yes.
Paul Hathaway, aye.
Eric Takal, aye.
Commissioner Vittori, yes.
We will go into executive session.
Yep.
Thank you.
See you guys in July.
See ya.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah. Thank you, Derek.